Um, okay. So as I said, like you can read this while I'm speaking. I got a note from someone who saw the flyer I used to entice you to come to this meeting, and it said danger ahead, and it said it all depends on you. And someone emailed me and said that while he appreciated what I was doing, he didn't think that that was a good message, scaring people and telling them it all rested on their shoulders. So I want to say two things about that. I'm telling you this because you are interested, active, passionate people. I'm not saying that this is the message you should take to people's doors. But I do want to tell you something. I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm trying to give you the facts. And the facts are scary. I'm not making it scary. They are scary, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. So, again, this is my view. I feel optimistic. I do not feel hopeless, but I do feel we're at a very pivotal point in our country, and I can't sugarcoat that. This is what Trump would do if he wins, and this isn't surmises. This is what he's already said he would do. Again, I'm not going to be reading any of these to you. You will get the slide deck. If you need to review them or have messages to tell your friends to help recruit them to help us, this is what he said he would do. And there's a very good, very long article in the Atlantic magazine written by different people who talk about each part of what he says he'll do and what it would mean for the country. Also, just so you know, I put live links on these slides. So when you get them, you can actually click on the links to get you to see them. And this will be true with volunteer opportunities, etc. And I took this graphic from the Rachel Maddow show when she talked about this isn't something that's coming in the future. It's here now. So again, I do feel that Trump may be a sociopath, he may be a buffoon, he may be anything, but a lot of this effort that he and his cohorts are making have already happened. We are in a lot of chaos. People, a lot of things have been normalized, so we're getting worn down. The I didn't realize how misogyny was a part of this whole plan, and every single thing that you see on here that comes from research on how you go from a democracy to a dictatorship or into fascism. This has all already started. The rule of law is holding up, but is clearly under attack, and we cannot be complacent. And I think you wouldn't be on this call if you didn't understand that everything is at stake. Every single thing that we hold dear is under attack. And it was kind of interesting to me. Someone told me that she talked to a friend of hers who, is a registered Democrat. And I believe she said she actually has a master's in political science. And the woman said to her, well, I don't want Trump to be elected, but it would only be 4 years. Well, maybe it wouldn't be 4 years. First of all, in 4 years, tremendous damage could be done because a lot of damage was already done. And another 4 years, there would be no adults in the room. He would be completely emboldened. And we already saw that Trump did not want to let go of the presidency. If he gets it again, we have absolutely no guarantee that he would ever, ever let it go willingly. And I guess I just want to emphasize, I get something from a group called Media Matters. And they look at all the news stories that are put out all over the country on TV and cable and everywhere. And I do feel that the media is completely failing us. Maybe it's because nobody knows how to handle a flagrant disregard for honesty, people who have no shame, but they don't really cover important stories. So even when Democrats put out the right message, in order to get out there, it has to be picked up. In the Inquirer, I feel like mostly it's only Will Bunch that really highlights the important issues and the danger we're in. This is one that came out yesterday, I think. I feel like all the major media should be highlighting this all the time. Um, when Trump met with the oil executives, he basically said, if you give me $1 billion, I'll take away all Biden's environmental laws. That should be a big story. That's a story that young people care about and everyone, but it does not get out to the general public. So where are we? This is for the presidential race, and I have links that I can show you later where you can see all this yourself. But this is the pundit's view of how the election's going to go. Excuse me, the presidential election. So this is not just based on polls. This is where experts think we are right now. So you can see the toss-up states are the states in tan: Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. And they're crucial to our winning the presidency. Again, remember, you're getting this slide deck. And I truly believe that Pennsylvania is the battleground state. Clearly, there are several, but we have the most electoral votes of all the toss-up states. Do I think the Pennsylvania is going to go for Biden? Yes. Would I bet my kid's life on it? Absolutely not. It is not a done deal. We have to work. And you can see the small number of votes that Hillary lost by or Biden won by. You know, it could be one vote in each precinct. It's one college kid that you get to make sure he or she turns in their ballot by mail. And I want to go over this. These are the combos that can win, give us a Democratic victory. So right now, there are 226 sure electoral votes for president for the Democrats and 235 for the Republicans. So this basically shows you if out of all those toss-up states that I showed you, if Biden wins Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Michigan, he can get to 276. You have to get to 272 to win. So these are the 9 combos that we need one of these. And you can see if Biden doesn't win Pennsylvania, he needs 4 other states. Pennsylvania is crucial to Biden's winning the presidency. And then take a look at what Trump needs to win. There are 12 possible combinations. He also is extremely dependent on Pennsylvania to get to a win. So we have to make sure that Biden wins Pennsylvania. Okay, so I think we're in a dire situation. I do not feel hopeless. I do listen, you know, sometimes I'm admonished that I'm being too worried. It's all going to be all right. I do listen to the Hopium, whatever Chronicles and Simon Rosenberg. I do understand that we have won a lot of elections. We've won special elections. I do want to say this, though. 2016 was very hard for us, and so was 2020 in state house races. Thank God Biden won, but we lost a lot in 2020. And presidential years are very hard to predict. So I do understand we've won a lot of elections. I do understand it's early. I do understand that the polling is not 100% accurate. But the best thing that Simon Rosenberg said is Trump is not in the lead. Well, that's not enough for me. I mean, I'm glad he doesn't have a total lead, but no one's saying we're in the lead and we're doing great. So I do think we can do it, but I think that we can only do it if we work extremely hard. And we've all heard about the arc bending toward justice. My whole life, that's what I thought was happening. I'm crossing my fingers that it's happening now. But what I want to tell you is that it doesn't just bend on its own. It's not going to bend toward justice unless you're that little stick figure I found pulling on this arc to move it in our direction. So I want to talk about the importance of state legislatures, especially the state house, the Senate also. It's the foundation of our democracy. We cannot do a trickle-down theory where it's all about the presidency. That doesn't work for economics. It doesn't work for politics. Our losing the states during those 8 years has led us to where we are now with the gerrymandering, with the actual rule by a minority in the states. The state legislatures are absolutely crucial to our success. And this November, the state legislative elections are key to our democracy and to protecting the presidency and democracy in our country. It's the state house candidates that are going to knock those doors, that are going to work for themselves and all the way up the ticket to elect Bob Casey, to elect our state candidates, to elect Joe Biden. And I just want to make sure you know where we are right now. The Republicans were in control, and in 2022, we had a fabulous win. We took the majority in the state house by one vote. I believe we've had 6, but don't hold me to that special election since then to hold that majority. It's very, very tenuous, and we stand between the state house majority keeps us protected from the most crazy bills that would get passed if we weren't in the majority. We have our first, well, fabulous Joanna McClinton is our Speaker of the House, and everything here, and I do believe for the presidential election, hangs on our keeping the majority. And I'm going to introduce the person, Jen O'Mara, whose campaign I was first involved in, where I learned about the importance of the state legislature. She had a really miraculous win in 2018, and I'm going to let her tell you, as she's much more familiar than I am, how important it is that we hold and expand the state legislature. I'm going to stop sharing, and here's Jen.
Well, thank you, Nancy. And thank you for painting that picture for everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. It is great to be here with all of you. I am hiding because I'm here during nap time, so forgive me. But I do want to just say that Nancy is not wrong, and there is a lot of reason to be scared. And in fact, this morning I was walking my dog and 2-year-old daughter and thinking about her future and questions she'll have about this election and what it means. And I started to feel a little overwhelmed, but then I started to remember that I can control what I can control, and I'm in the middle of working on building out a field program for my own campaign, a field program for the state house members in Delaware County, raising money to support the HDCC. I thought about this call and the fact that Nancy had hundreds of people registered. And I remembered that all is not lost. We're still in the very beginning of June. We have many, many reasons to think that this election can go the right way, but we can't sit back and wait for it to happen. We have to make sure that it happens. And so we're going to do that in a number of ways. That includes asking you guys for money and asking you to knock on doors or write postcards or make phone calls or send text messages, all of which will be really supportive to all of the great candidates that you're about to meet. But Nancy wanted me to talk a bit about why it's so important that we have the majority in the state house. And so I wanted to just remind everyone it's right now 102 to 101. And with that 102 majority, we have managed to shift the entire dynamics of Harrisburg because suddenly there's no longer a Republican controlled legislature with a Democratic governor who can only veto bills. There's now a Democratic House that has a pretty united vote, and that we are a force to be reckoned with. Last year, we showed that in the budget when we stopped vouchers from happening, despite the fact that it was something that our new governor came out wanting to do with a deal on the table. We also have been able to get really good things in the budget, including expanding the child care and dependent care tax credit, which will give families direct money into their pockets. We've passed and included other legislation like increasing the property tax and rent rebate program, which for our constituents who are talking about paying their grocery bills, that's direct dollars into their pockets. And Governor Shapiro is doing really well because frankly, the legislature is doing well and he is helping to get really good headlines. However, there have still been problems because of the Senate. So when you see things die in the US House, it's like that in the US Senate. We have passed 314 bills out of the US House or out of the PA House, and only 58 have been passed out of the Senate. So that means there is a graveyard of Democratic priorities, including things like ERPOs and raising the minimum wage, banning ghost guns. The list goes on because we have sent so many bills there. And so we have to continue to protect our majority because, oh, well, the other point I want to make though is some bills have failed despite the fact that we have a majority because there are still really hot topics. And so I mentioned that those have been gun bills because we don't need to just protect the majority. We need to expand our majority. And we have candidates who are going to help us do that today on this call who you're about to meet. Um, so I wanted to just remind everyone that working for these state house candidates, whether it's an incumbent who we think is vulnerable or whether it's state or new candidate, is important because it's going to help President Biden. When you turn out a Democratic voter who was engaged by a local volunteer or candidate knocking on their door, they're not going to just vote for us at the bottom of the ticket. They're going to go up the ticket. We showed that in my race in 2020 when we helped boost President Biden, and we continue to show that in midterm elections. And so these state house races, to me, I think are the easiest way to engage the most voters. There's 60,000 residents in our district. Less than that many doors, we can talk to all of them, including independents and the key Haley voters who we're going to need, and they're going to be our targets. And so I just wanted to thank you all for continuing to pay attention and care. I know we're all feeling exasperated. It's been a long 8 years, but we need to make sure that we do a lot of great things moving forward. And we're going to continue to do that in the Pennsylvania House. We need to do that in the Pennsylvania Senate, but we're not going to be able to do that if we stay at 102 to 101. So Nancy, thank you for remembering that legislatures are so critical. And if there are questions that you have for me in the chat, put them there because I'm not going to stay on to take them. Thank you everyone for being here.
Hi, thank you, Jen, so much. So, what is our strategy for the Pennsylvania Congress? First of all, we have to protect all our vulnerable seats, and there are quite a few. We have to flip a few more red districts to blue. We do need to work toward flipping the Senate. And most important, and I just had a little time to review the chat, we have to get out the vote. We cannot win unless we get every Democrat out. I do not know what's going to happen. I see a lot of things that people, especially young people, seem unmotivated. I don't understand it because this is not a one-issue race. This has nothing to do with Biden's age. This has to do, I mean, there are so many things that Biden has done and Democrats want to do that help young people that I truly don't understand their apathy. But the point is, from now till the election, we have to assure people have the right information and they come out to vote. It's all going to depend on getting out the vote for Democrats. So just so you know, these are the current incumbents that this isn't just my opinion, it's the opinion of a variety of groups that are in the most danger in the Pennsylvania State House. Brian Monroe will be speaking to us in a moment. He won, but it was in Bucks County. It was a great race. He's a great candidate. He's a great state rep, but he won by a small amount of votes, and he isn't safe. And the people in yellow, the reason I highlighted them is that Jen and I raised money for them last year. They're first term state house people, and they are being targeted. The Commonwealth Foundation and people like Jeffrey Yass have given hundreds of thousands of dollars to defeat them. And we have to work very hard to make sure they keep their seats and that we flip some seats. So I'm going to introduce you to Brian. As I said, he worked so hard to win that Bucks County seat. He has an amazing background. I know we have, in my opinion, too many elected people who are lawyers and all kinds of people, not that, I mean, I love lawyers, don't get me wrong, but we need people who had varying backgrounds in our House and Senate. And Brian, he'll tell you this may be the only law enforcement officer who is serving. I think he's done an amazing job and he really, really needs our help. And also, as you see down at the bottom, I do have that volunteer link. So when you get the slide deck, you can just click on it. It'll take you right to his site. And now I'm very happy for you to meet Brian Monroe.
Thank you, Nancy, and thank you for having me. And hello, everybody. By the way, Nancy, I started myself a timer, so I want to keep myself at 4 minutes. So yeah, I mean, you know my background, and it's actually more unique than just the police, the fire, EMT, and the military veteran. So yes, as of next year, I will be the last remaining fraternal or police member on the floor. And it also turns out that I'm one of the only military veterans who's an elected uh, representative from the state, or county, state, or federal level in Bucks County. So it definitely makes me very unique. Something obviously that we're going to be messaging on. But the 144th district, I'm the first Democrat to ever hold it. It was 515 votes that I was able to beat my predecessor, and I did that by work. It was going to the doors. It was talking to the voters directly, and of course money and messaging, because without obviously money you can't message. So those are all things that were very, very powerful and impactful. So I know that everything we've done over the last 2 years. We mentioned Joanna McClinton. I think it's very important to point out that she is the first female Speaker of the House in our history, 340 years. She's the first, and that was a direct party line vote. Let that sink in for a second. A historic vote, and it went 102 to 101, but it was directly party line. Um, you know, 2 years ago, I would have sat here and I would have argued with everybody about how this seat was winnable. They did not, they believed it was winnable, but was Brian going to be the 4-year incumbent? We'll see. But I knew it was winnable. We had the numbers. I was an elected official in 55% of the district. The other gentleman who was the 4-year incumbent was not, so he was only known in 45% of the district. But I'm going to do the opposite here. I'm going to talk to you about how we can lose this. The DPI here is about 51.3%. It has been trending pretty blue, but as 2020 was mentioned, right? This is an election where there are shadowy voters that are going to come out in the election, and we don't know what they're going to do, right? So that is who we're talking to. When Anna comes up here in a second, Anna and I were talking. I said, how are the doors been? And he was like, that is the way the doors are, but that's because so many of these voters, they're totally checked out. They have not even thought about the presidential election yet. Many of them probably still can't imagine a presidential election where you've got Biden and Trump on the ballot. So that's how, we're all different. Everybody that's on this meeting right now, we're engaged and we're in tune with what's going on. But a lot of those voters are not. And that is who we're talking to right now. And it's difficult, I can tell you, it's difficult doing it by yourself. It's difficult doing it with a couple of people, but by just getting out there and saying to these people, hey, look, Brian Monroe and the other potential pickups, this is the difference. This is the quality candidates that we have. Phenomenal candidates. What they've been able to do since they've been in office, it's been phenomenal. And we need you to come home and vote Democratic come November 5th. That's 4 minutes. So with that, that's my big push, right? Is please come out and help us door knock. Please donate. And if we don't, my opponent, who is an avid door knocker, he's going to go out there and he's going to work. He's a county elected official, and the number one thing is in your first reelection, that's their shot at taking you out. And it was this seat that got us to that 102. So with that, I will give it back to Nancy.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, here we go. So these are, again, in my humble opinion, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 most flippable seats. And today, you're going to hear from Anna Payne, who's also in Bucks County. You're going to hear from Elizabeth Morrow in Delco and Anna Thomas in Northampton. At a future meeting, you're going to hear from Hadley Haas in Allegheny and Sarah Agerton. I must say, lovely looking women and looking happy and optimistic. So let's hope that their smiles are an indicator of what's to come. And I am asking them to speak because I really want you to understand who you're backing. I hate when people say, oh, all politicians are the same. They're all thieves. They don't care. It just shows they don't know any good candidates, of which most of the ones that I meet are. So next, I'm going to let you meet Anna Payne, who I believe is one of the most flippable seats in the entire state. The previous person who ran, Mark Maffa, lost, I believe, by only 76 votes. So now I'd like you to meet Anna Payne, who's running for the 142 in Bucks, and hope you'll get out to help her. take it away, Anna.
Hey everyone, my name is Anna Payne, and like Nancy said, I'm running for the 142nd district in Bucks County. That is like the lower portion of Bucks County. It compiles 3 different townships, 3 different municipalities, one of which I'm an elected supervisor, and I've been an elected supervisor since 2020, and I've actually been an elected official in Middletown since 2018. So I have some experience. In my day job, I work for County Commissioner Diane Marseglia. So I've been doing constituent services for almost 6 years now, as my day job, and then now as a supervisor as my night job. So I have the experience and I have my ear on the ground about what really matters to my constituents. So I'm super grateful to have this opportunity. We've done some pretty amazing things on the board in Middletown, some of which have won 2 awards from the governor's office for local government excellence, one in 2021 and one in actually a couple months ago. And we've also fully funded our police, made historic investments in our fire, and started a human relations commission in the light of all of the craziness going on to help give people a voice when something bad or just some sort of discrimination might happen in a community. So we've been making a lot of historic things happen and doing some really great stuff. While on the board, in July of 2021, I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, which I still live with today. But my community rallied around me and helped lift me back up. And that's one of the very reasons I'm running, because throughout my life, I have had people come to my aid and help me. And it's my way of giving back to them. I learned at a young age what it looks like if you have access to quality healthcare versus what it looks like when you don't have access to quality healthcare. And that's why I'm so involved. And I've been an advocate for as long as I can remember to try and make things better for other people. I sit on the Pennsylvania Rare Disease Advisory Council. I was one of 2 patients appointed in 2018. And I've been the vice chair ever since. I started a nonprofit for people with cystic fibrosis in Bucks County, not too long ago, actually, while going through cancer treatment. So I'm super grateful to be here today. Like Nancy said, this came down to 76 votes in 2022. This is a winnable district. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we flip this seat from red to blue and expand the majority. So we can, it's not just about my district. This echoes across the Commonwealth about what we'll be able to do for people living across the strait by expanding the majority, right? So I'm super grateful to have this opportunity. If I had anything I could suggest, I know that time is a super valuable, right? But that's all we have. We only have a few months left, right? It's already June. So if you have any time you can give, whether it's to make a call, send a text, a postcard, come knock doors, volunteer on election day, donate, whatever you can do, it will make a huge difference. And it's going to take all of us to make this happen. We have to do everything we can to protect a women's right to choose, to protect our democracy, and to make sure that people will actually continue to be able to vote in this country. As Nancy said in the beginning, if things go awry, I don't know what's going to happen. None of us do. But all we can do is what we can control. So put in some time, make a phone call, send a text, whatever it is. So I just want to say thank you, Nancy, for putting this together, and for everyone for being on this call. It's super inspiring to see so many people who are interested and want to help make a difference. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. And we're going to go a little bit out of order now. I'm letting Sarah know, who's highlighting people. Anna Thomas has to leave for another event, so I'm going to introduce her next. Let me just share my screen real quickly for 1 second. I just want you to see a little bit about Anna and know that she is in the slide deck. Again, there's a live link when you get the slide deck if you want to help her. And now I have the pleasure of introducing Anna, who ran and came very close to winning her district in the last election. Go ahead, Anna.
Thank you so much, Nancy. And I'm going to fake news to that slide. We are not near Scranton. We are fully in the Lehigh Valley.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I feel like we're as close to Philly as we are to Scranton. So if you're in Scranton, come to my district. If you're in Philly, come to my district. I want you to come knock with me. So great to be with all of you here. Thank you so much for joining the Zoom, for taking the time on your Sunday. Really appreciate you all. Everybody knows how crucial and how important this year's election is going to be for both all of our state legislative races, but also our presidential races, which is why when you're traveling between things and you're Anna Thomas, you got to jump on a Zoom to talk to people that are interested in talking to me about the race and talking to folks about the statewide importance that we have here. I am a born and raised Lehigh Valley kid, running for state rep in the 137th district, ran for this same seat in 2022 and came within 700 votes of beating a then 12-year Republican incumbent who I am now rematching this year in 2024. And it is of most importance to me that we all fight to protect democracy this year, because my opponent is someone who's voted to overturn the results of the 2020 election, or signed an amicus brief to overturn the results of the 2020 election, has voted to ban abortion in Pennsylvania. And as someone who would be, when elected, I'll be the only woman under 30 in the entire Pennsylvania state legislature. So it is crucially important to me and to my peers that we continue to protect reproductive freedom in Pennsylvania and make sure that healthcare is available for everyone who needs it. Alongside that, I think the most important thing that we can do as a state legislature is to improve basic quality of life for all Pennsylvanians. And that's part of what keeps me running, is being someone who's from Pennsylvania. I'm really passionate about making sure we close basic corporate tax loopholes that exist across the state, and also fully funding our schools and making sure that our public schools and our public education is the best in the nation. So I am really honored to be here with all of you. Can't wait to have you up on doors with me this year, and really excited to win this together. And thanks for having me again.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thanks for fitting us in. I know that you're on your way somewhere and coming back from somewhere. See you soon.
Appreciate you all. Bye.
Okay. So there are other candidates that are not necessarily the most likely flips, but there are many other candidates that do have a chance, and I'm just highlighting a few of them for you to consider. Now, I do want to say, if you live in a place that is a red district, and that's exactly the candidate you have to be helping, your Democratic candidate there. But for people who live in pretty safe blue districts, yes, you have to get the vote out in your district for Biden, etc. But you have to do double work and go to some of these flippable districts to help these candidates. I'm so impressed this year. I think Christian Luna in Chester County is about 26 years old. I think Megan is about, oh, it says here 24, but I think she turned 25. But I love that we have younger candidates running. And I do want you to be clear on this. The Democrats in the House are delivering for us. They don't have an easy task because we don't control the Senate. But they are getting some things passed because some of the things are so important that the Republicans, even in the Senate, can't vote against them. So they are getting some things passed for us. But they've passed dozens of bills that are stuck in the Senate. They can pass a bill, but it won't become law until the PA Senate votes for it. And these are some of the things, it's beyond disgraceful that our minimum wage is still so low. There are so many things here that everybody in our state wants, but the Senate won't pass it. They won't let Democrats have any wins, and they're just against everything. So really quickly, I want to talk about the PA Senate. There are 50 state senators, and a majority is 26, but just like you know, in the US Senate, it's if we get to 25, if we can flip 3 Senate seats, we can have the majority because our Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis can break any ties. So there's a big push this year to try to take the PA Senate, or at least improve where our standing there. And these are the 3 most flippable Senate seats. Again, just giving you information because I think, you know, if you can get involved with their campaign, or if you get requests for money, you'll know where it's most important to go. I do think Patty Kim, who's in the Harrisburg area, does have the best chance of flipping a seat. I do want to say this, though, and this is important to me. I back the effort to flip the Senate, but I do want to say, for me, it's not worth getting 2 Senate seats if we lose the House, because if the Republicans get the House, that's where we will start to get laws that they will pass, and then the state Senate will pass, and before you know it, Pennsylvania will have abortion bans, etc. We must hold the House. And the last candidate I want to introduce to you today is Elizabeth Morrow, and her seat is in Delco and Chester. I didn't put that on there. And it's the last red seat in Delco. Delco, with the work of so many people, has made a complete flip from red to blue since about 2018. And I'm happy right now to introduce Elizabeth Morrow to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you. I'm Elizabeth Morrow. I'm a mom. I'm a small business owner. I'm an author, a real estate broker, and so you might say I've got food and housing covered. So if you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I'm hitting them all. The most important thing I think we need to do right now is preserve our democracy and preserve our civil and reproductive rights in the state of Pennsylvania. When I decided to run, it was looking back at my own children and thinking about the fact that Roe v. Wade was the law of the land 1 month after I was born, and my children will have less rights unless we can do something about it. And that is my commitment. I think about the next generation and what they are looking at, their concerns about, can they afford the American dream, which I want to make sure they can. They struggle with mental illness. I speak with so many people about the issue of mental illness, which is something I think we need to be, and I'm really proud of our governor for opening the doors that we have a more open conversation with that as well in our state. I'm a big advocate for the environment, which is another thing our next generation worries about. And at the end of August, a really cool story is for the last 7 years since I ran for US Congress before the districts were redivided, to take my energy into a way that I could serve my community. We started an effort to save a very large farm that's part of the Brandywine battlefield. It's an environmental treasure, and it's also a very significant intersection. To develop that house, Toll Brothers wanted to put in 322 homes. It would have destroyed the environment, challenged the already fragile infrastructure of a very major intersection, but also decreased the value of the surrounding homes. And everyone told me, as a real estate broker, I was an idiot. It's a done deal. You're never going to make it happen. After working together in the community, which a big chunk of it is this red district that I'm running to flip, we did it. We stood up against one of the largest home builders, and the owners of the farm actually are supporting my campaign. And so it's a success story about how communities can come together and how we can work with each other at the big table, which is something you will find at my cafe. We all talk together, Republicans and Democrats, all day long. And I assure you, there is concern out there as I knock doors independents and even some Republicans are open to having conversations about how we can move forward as a nation. And so I've had the opportunity to meet wonderful people like First Lady Dr. Jill Biden, and our senators, our local senators and our local reps come, and neighbors from around the surrounding states and the communities are very interested in this race. So not only do I have door knocking every single day, but I am interfacing with the public when I'm not out door knocking, whether it's selling a house, but mostly at my place of business. So I get the issues with high costs of running a business, providing a livable wage, which is what I do. So I walk my talk, and that is something that resonates with people as I move about the district. I know we're going to flip this seat. I need your support financially and otherwise. So thank you. And that was my husband who just walked in, so I'm sorry about that.
Thank you so much, and I want to thank all the candidates who are running. It's a tremendous task they're taking on. And when I was on a phone call with them, and they actually don't love asking you for money, but I've told them, like, you're not asking for yourself, you're asking people to make an investment in our country and democracy. So I hope that you help them with your time and your money. I want to very, very quickly tell you about our statewide races. We had a primary. These are the candidates that won. I do think this is going to be tough. Yes, we have a Democratic governor, but very often our statewide races go Republican, and this is not going to be a walk in the park. I think that the Attorney General job in particular is crucial. That's so important to making sure that our election laws are upheld. So these are the people that will be running statewide that we also have to get the vote out for. We heard from Anna Thomas. Okay, little plug here. In 2018, Jen and I had a site where you could go on and you could contribute to the candidates. It goes directly to the candidates. We also had it in 2022. We backed, it was Nancy and Jen's Democratic Dozen. This year, we've picked 6 candidates. For the first time, we're having a hold candidate in our majority makers, Brian Monroe. It is possible we'll add some more candidates to this. It's possible we will see some incumbents need our help, and that there are flips that we add. But right now, I'm not going to go on it, but when you get these slides, you click on this Nancy and Jen's majority makers. You can give whatever amount that you feel comfortable with. And if you don't customize it, it will split it equally among these candidates. But you can easily customize it. Like if you live in Bucks and you only want to give to Bucks candidates, you can do whatever you want. But right now, these are the candidates where we feel your money will be most needed. Now, quickly, US. The US Senate, where this is the balance of power right now. The yellow dots are the 3 independents. It's Bernie Sanders, I think Angus King, and Kristen Sinema just became an independent, but they usually vote with the Democrats. It's a 1-seat majority, and it's very, very tenuous. Do I think we can hold it? Maybe, but here's the deal. This little blue dot here, we're definitely going to lose. That's the Joe Manchin seat. Joe Manchin is not running again, and the Republican will definitely win West Virginia. So if we work our hardest, we will have 50 senators. And if Biden wins, or when Biden wins, I want to switch that to, we will still be able to be okay with Kamala Harris's vote. But it's very, very tenuous in the Senate. And I would just want to be very clear about this. First of all, just by the way things work, senators run every 6 years, different ones come up every time. The Republicans are only defending 11 seats and the Democrats are defending 23 this year. And all the Republican seats are pretty much done deals. So they're not going to lose any seats. There is a slight chance, and I believe in miracles, that we could take the Texas seat. There's an even slighter chance we could take the Florida seat. But basically, in order for us to hold the Senate and hold it not at 51, but at 50, we have to re-win every single seat. And you can see right now that that's not a sure thing. There are 7 seats that are in some degree of danger. And I do want to show you here, this is again the pundits' prediction. So clearly the 2 hardest races are Montana. Montana is solid red. It's going to go for Trump. John Tester has won in the past. He's well liked. He does have a chance to win. And Ohio. Now, again, these light blue seats, including Pennsylvania, are not sure things. But according to most experts, they're leaning Democratic. But we cannot be complacent about it. So again, remember, you're going to get this slideshow. Here are 6 vulnerable senators, and I kind of have them in some sort of order of how people think they're endangered. And of course, in Pennsylvania, Robert Casey's winning. I think of all the lean Democratic toss-ups, Casey has the best chance. But again, we have to help him with the coordinated campaign. He and Biden will be running a coordinated campaign. It's already started. And we have to get behind Bob Casey. Again, not a sure thing. And then I do want to just give a shout out to Colin Allred and to Debbie in Florida, because they're running against horrible people. I mean, Ted Cruz, if there's a -0, I'll give him a -0. So they do deserve your support and attention, but they have extremely tough races. Getting through here, the U.S. House of Representatives. This is how it is right now. There are 235 seats. To take the majority, Democrats have to win 218 seats. So right now, you can see how many seats the Republicans have in the Democrats, because there are 5 vacancies. 4 what I'll call Republican vacancies and 1 Democratic. So if the seats that are vacant go the way they were, we have to hold every single seat we now have and flip 4 seats. Hold in other words, to take the U.S. House back, we have to hold every seat and flip at least 4 seats. And this is the breakdown of how people see it. The seats in the middle, the Democratic toss-ups here, are the seats that we now hold, but are going to be very hard to hold. And these seats are the Republican seats that we have a chance of flipping. So in order to take back the House, we have to hold all these seats and we have to flip some of these seats. And as you can see, 2 of the seats are right here in Pennsylvania. The Susan Wild seat north of us, and the Matt Cartwright seat even farther north. Matt Cartwright, well, let me show you here. So Susan Wild has a tough race. Her district was hard to win. She is liked, but it is an absolute toss-up race, and we have to help her. She's an excellent Congresswoman. She was one of the Fab 4 that we elected in 2018, along with Mary Gay, Madeleine, and Chrissy Houlihan. And Matt Cartwright, it's amazing. He's in a very red district. He was one of only 5 Democrats to win a seat in a Trump district. So he is in an endangered seat. And another little both plug and thing that I think you'll find really fun if you can go to. There's a special event. It's physicians and musicians are coming together for reproductive freedom. It's going to be a concert this Thursday, right in Conshohocken, with some of the top Philly band and musician talent. It's in a pretty small venue. There are affordable tickets. There are still some left. The money will go directly to support the 2 toss-up seats. It's one of 11 country seats. 2 are right here in Pennsylvania. Again, you'll get the slide deck. I hope you'll join us. I'll be there with some of the candidates you've heard from today. And I told you I'd give you links. You'll be able to click onto them when you get the slide deck. You'll get to see all kinds of predictions and what we need to do to win. Okay, finally, I don't have too much time. I said this was going to go till 4:45 because I had so much to cover. What can you do? Guys, door knocks. That's actually Jen knocking a door. I cannot tell you. It's the only time we actually talk to, and more important, listen to the voters. It is the single most effective thing we can do. And please keep your mind open, even if you're thinking, let her get ahead because I'm not doing that. I want to do something else. Keep an open mind on these door knocks. I'm begging you. I am sure it's important to answer my own question. It's the single most effective thing we can do. Yes, sometimes you'll be asked to leave, but it's very rare. We don't send you to, we try very hard not to send you to crazy MAGA Republicans' doors. A conversation that you hold correctly means everything. And it's just that one voter that you get that's so, so important. If you can walk and talk or even have someone drive you, we need you to knock doors right where you are or go to the flip areas and volunteer. Again, I'm highlighting, I just can't tell you, Judy had I think a broken ankle. She came when she wasn't fully healed and she came out to knock with us. John Berger fell. I remember because he came into an event still bleeding. He fell at his first door and he finished his entire canvas before he came back. And none of these people are spring chickens. You can do door knocks. And you will try to help you go to the doors you feel most comfortable with. You know, we can send you to Democratic doors, persuasion doors. We will do our best to send you out with an experienced canvasser. If you, you know, aren't comfortable, we'll take you in slowly, but we have to door knock. And I did a huge deep listening canvassing campaign for a candidate a couple years ago. I can't tell you how effective it was. We trained 20 pairs of volunteers and they went out, and the main thing that you have to understand, no matter what door you knock and whatever your goal is, the best thing you can do is listen. People want to feel heard. You're not there as a used car salesman. You have to hear what are their issues and address them. And I saw in the chat a few things came up about, let me go back a minute, about the economy. I do want to say something. You cannot go to doors and intellectually convince people. You cannot spout policy at them. And an email came out from a very well-intended person who said, Americans, I got this email, think we're in a recession. We're not. The stock market's great, unemployment's low. That is meaningless to a lot of people. They don't say to themselves, oh, we're not in a recession. I'm glad the stock market's high. First of all, most people don't aren't in the stock market. What they care about is their groceries, their rent, affording a house, their gas prices, and we cannot ignore it. But the best thing we can do is listen to them, let them feel heard. We can talk about corporate greed. Bob Casey really emphasizes that. We can talk about that the epidemic hurt the whole world, that we're doing better, but we cannot tell them, hey, that's ridiculous, the economy's great. We have to meet them where they are on every issue they care about. Some things are tricky. You get to a door, occasionally there'll be someone who wants to talk about trans issues in bathrooms. Well, I'd say listen and pivot. I don't know what to tell you about some people, but you have to be a great listener. People will literally change their minds if they like you and if they like the candidate, having absolutely nothing to do with policy. And then again, remember, you're getting these slides. We can't just run on Trump is horrible, he'll kill democracy. I mean, that's important, but Biden has done more with less than most presidents I know. I get that he has issues. I get people have doubts. I'm kind of a Biden fan. He did a lot. I just want you to know the asterisks mean these are issues that young people seem to care about. And the red shows issues that the most people know about and is important to them, because a lot of people have no idea what Biden did. Again, I blame that on, I don't know, the Democrats, the media, I don't know who to blame, but blaming doesn't matter. The point is we have to tell them what Biden did. We have to pivot to things. Here are some more things. And again, in the red is the things that people seem to know about and care about. They'd probably care about more if they understood all that Biden and the Democrats have done for them. And they have to understand that the bridge they're seeing built, no Republican voted for that. But they can't understand it if you don't tell them. This is all on you to tell them, because we can't count on anybody else. The other thing besides door knocks is dollars. So our campaign finance laws are horrendous in the state, in the country, but they are what they are, and candidates need money. And I got asked, I was invited to a continuing care community to speak, and when should they give? And one woman said, I don't know, but I'm thinking I should give, a little bit every month to make the candidates feel encouraged constantly. Well, here's the deal. No, you should, if you can, like, if you can give $100, but you can only give 20 a month, it's fine to give 20 a month. But if you can give that 100 or 1,000 or 100,000 now, the fact is, Emily's List isn't about a woman. It stands for early money is like yeast. It makes the dough rise. I mean, it makes the dough rise. Early money means everything. It means they don't have to, they can knock more doors because they feel secure about money. It means that they can know what TV ads they can buy early on. What you should really do, in my opinion, is make a budget. I can give $500 to everything this whole time. I can give 5,000, 50,000, and figure out which candidates you should give it to. If you want to talk to me about it, I'm happy to Zoom with you, and see as much as you can give right away. What are you giving it for? To be honest, the majority of the money goes to TV, radio, media. It's super expensive, especially in prime metropolitan areas like Philly, Monco, Delco, and it's a little cheaper in other parts of the state. I covered when you should give it. I hope I'm giving some ideas to whom, how much. I know, I've experienced this. Some people can give $5,000 and other people 50 is the same effort. I can't tell you. I can just tell you, look at your heart, look at your pocketbook, look at your soul, look at our country, and give as much as you can, and give it wisely and give it early. You can also hold fundraisers and meet and greets. You can reach out to any of these candidates. And this is just some efforts we did. You can do them in person. You can do them on Zoom. We had a Zoom with Bob Casey for Jen. I sent everybody it was bring a blue drink with you to the event. I sent out a non-alcoholic and 2 alcoholic recipes to everybody. We all listened and we drank together. We had a Zoom where you wore all your political pins from the past. We did canvassing efforts. Reach out to the candidates, reach out to me. I will hook you up with where and who you can work with. Again, I'm plugging, if you want to give money and it's to the PA House candidates, go on this link. We're very happy. Your money will go directly to the candidates. I'm a complete volunteer. We don't have any staff. Nothing gets taken away from them. And now I want to talk to you about where you can link up. Again, you'll get these slides, you'll click right on this link and it will show you exactly where you can go canvas. It will tell you the events that are coming up. Again, ask to get an easy canvas if you're not an experienced canvasser. I have people that go out every week. Budget your time as well as your money. Say to yourself, and I haven't counted this, there are 14 weekends before the election. I'm going to go out on 7 of them. I'm going to go out once a week because our democracy depends on it, and hook up with these campaigns. You can also help register people to vote. I know some people love that. I'm still pushing the door knocks because there are way more Democrats who don't vote than there are unregistered Democrats. You've got to knock the doors of the turnout Dems. They're low frequency voters. I call them high potential voters. That's who you have to get out to vote. If you really can't talk, because this is what I want to say. If you're uncomfortable door knocking, try to get over it because you'll be way less comfortable living in a dictatorship. So having said that, if you absolutely can't walk and talk, and I know some of you can't, seriously, well, most of you can talk, but you know, I understand there are health problems, etc. Here are links that you'll go to. Again, you don't have to take notes. You'll get the slides where you can sign up and write postcards, etc. There are, again, more links to write postcards. There's writing letters, more writing. You want to write, start now, you know, do what you can. Get going, write a few every day. This is a good link to go to volunteer to do phone banking and texting. They're active, they're starting. You can get on that. Texting is effective with young people and others. This is sort of part of that texting phone banking effort. You won't be attending as Nancy, you'll be attending as yourself. And again, there's a lot of sites. Here's one, but I have more where if you want to share things on Facebook, share things with your friends, you can get things to share. If you want to write letters to the editor, I actually have a pretty good training on that. If you want to get a group together, you just want to Zoom with me, don't worry about sending letters into the Inquirer. Send letters into all kinds of small newspapers, the Delco Times, the I don't know, Lackawanna Gazette or something. Most small papers are looking for articles and because they don't have reporters, and you can get a lot of letters published there. I can't believe I'm almost at the end, and I will take questions afterward. And again, I am begging you, whatever you, I mean, I know there are people in here I recognize you probably can't do any more. I see some of you who go out every week and knock doors. But for everybody, including me, because I do get tired, I do sometimes feel worn out and, oh my God, are we still doing this? Can this nightmare please be over? But we have to act or we're not going to get anywhere. Remember that person pulling on that rope, bending the arc of justice. Okay, and just really quickly, there's a show on Netflix and it's called Franklin, and Michael Douglas, of all people, is Ben Franklin. And I watched it, and I just want to kind of fill you in on this. So Ben Franklin's in France, and he was sent there by the Congress to get, it's the revolution. And we're not doing that well, we, the American revolutionaries. And he's sent to France to get French help money, ships, ammunition, etc. And I know this is fiction, but it rang a bell. So with help, we win the war, and Ben Franklin is in France with John Adams and I think it's John Jay. And he signs a treaty, they sign a treaty with England to end the war, and it's the birth of our country. So in this episode, this is John Adams, and they're, after they sign the treaty, they're drinking a toast. And John Adams says, to virtue, honesty, and education of the people. And John Jay says, and the rule of law. Ben Franklin says we can have no country without them, nor be worthy of one, says Adams. So not Michael Douglas, Ben Franklin meets with a French benefactor, a member of the aristocracy, and they're saying kind of, what's this new world? It's the new world where all things are possible. And the Frenchman says, well, do you have a different type of men there? How's that going to work? And Ben Franklin says, well, it's kind of the same world, I'm afraid, and the same sort of men in it. Only the idea is different. The idea is that a free people may govern themselves, guided by common sense and a belief in the greater good. And the Frenchman says, and if they lack common sense, Franklin says, then I suppose they shall get what they deserve. And I am just saying to you, I choose to be optimistic. I choose to believe in the virtue, and this is sometimes difficult, the common sense, the unity of the American people, so that we can win and stay a democracy and not lose this country. I hope that in November, there's a repeat of this. This is an event I held, where, we threw blue confetti. Let's pray that after November 5th, that's what we're doing. And I end with this slide because it is all up to you. So now